Week 4 NFL football. We're kicking off Thursday, September 29th. This Thursday, the Dolphins are going away. The 3-0 Dolphins, I should say. I think they are besides for the Eagles, they're the only undefeated team left.
Yep.
Eagles are going to be going into Cincinnati playing the Bengals. The spread is at
+4.
-4 in Cincinnati's favor.
Yeah.
170 for the Miami Dolphins on the money line. Over-unders at 47. I'm a little confused on why the spread's at -4, but who comes out on top? Dolphins, Bengals?
It's like if I didn't look at the spread, if I didn't look at it, I would be saying Dolphins, I think. You know what I mean? But looking at the spread, it's like, well, it's -4 for a reason. I don't know if Tua suffered a concussion.
As of right now, Tua is questionable.
Yeah, I don't know if it's what it's going to be. It could be those white hot helmets that the Bengals are going to wear. That could be playing with the spread a little bit. Those helmets look sick. The whites.
Yeah, it could be.
No, but honestly, I do think I want to not like Tua and the Dolphins, but they've looked good. I think that the Dolphins take this one.
The Bills, yeah. If you knock off the Bills, there's something to prove. Obviously, Cincinnati might be a tough place to play as well.
Yeah.
Coming off their Super Bowl win, the Bengals obviously opened the year against the Steelers at home. Lost it in overtime when they should have won the game 3 times. Haven't been home since. They're going to be playing a playoff-ready team, Miami. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I think that if they can limit Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, I think they can win the game. However, it really just depends on if, in a bettor's mind, if Tua is going to play or not. Coming off a short week, getting rocked like he did. I don't know. I think. Here's my pick. If Tua plays, I'm going to go ahead and take the spread. Maybe even the +170 because Cincinnati, in my opinion, doesn't look good. They beat the Jets. But I think before that, you kind of see those problems in their O-line.
It's noticeable.
Obviously, the Dolphins are coming off wins against teams that I would put far above the Steelers, the Cowboys, and the Jets, which were the last 3 games the Bengals had. Dolphins are going to, Dolphins have played the Patriots, Ravens, and Bills. So, you look at a lot of these games, they're putting up a lot of points. I think the Dolphins can probably hang in this one. I don't know their backup quarterback that well. But, if Tua plays, I'm taking the +4.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I almost think, do you play that right now? You know what I mean? Is it more so is it +4 because they think Tua might not play? Do you take the risk and take it +4 right now?
I think it's worth the sprinkle.
Yeah, I do too.
And I think like when you look at Tua's injury, okay, so head coach Mike McDaniel said Tua Tagovailoa's ankle and back would have been limited if the team practiced Tuesday and is considered questionable for Thursday's matchup. That's Barry Jackson from the Miami Herald. But, regardless of if Tua plays or not, I think, the talent that the Dolphins have on offense is really going to shock the Bengals right off the bat, and we'll see if Joe Burrow can come out and actually be Joe Burrow, and if this Bengals team can cut out the Super Bowl hangover that they've been on for the first 2 or 3 weeks of the football season.
Yep.
All right, so that's obviously a Thursday night game. Any props? Any players we're looking to get in the end zone this game?
I don't know. It's going to be – let's see. I just want to look at the receiving props. But right away, there's nothing that's going to come off the mind. Tyler Boyd had a hell of a week last week. His over-under is at 37.5. He hasn't been that good. I do kind of want to fade that and go under 37.5. That's the first one that I see. But other than that, I think – we'll see. I don't know about the Thursday night.
I'm not sure. So I'm not sure either, but I do really think like the play here is to monitor that spread of the +4 on the Dolphins side.
Yeah.
If you still go down to +3, I think that's good. If you get in the bet at +4 right now, I would be surprised if it didn't go down to 3, if not 2.5, especially if Tua. I think if Tua comes out or Mike McDaniel comes out and says Tua's playing in this game, we're going to see a whole switch on, it become a pick-up. Because I think that, how is Vegas going to fade a team that just beat, who, in my opinion, would be the Super Bowl favorites right now, the Buffalo Bills, and put them as an underdog against, a Super Bowl contender last year, but I mean, they haven't looked great, and I think their O-line and their defense have gotten torn apart by Mitch Trubisky. Joe Flacco put up 12 points against them, but it's Joe Flacco and the Jets. Like, I'm not really taking them so serious after they beat the Jets 27-12 compared as the Dolphins beating the Bills. So I think that's a good game to watch. Tyreek Hill said he's got some for Eli Apple too, which
maybe that's the over you look for is Tyreek Hill, but that's not out yet.
Yeah, Tyreek Hill. I mean, they got a lot of guys that are on the injury report. Cedric Wilson, doesn't matter. Tight ends, defensive tackle, but I think that Cincinnati's O-line is really going to be the question here, and I think +4 on the Miami side would be my pick there. All right, let's move on to Sunday, October 2nd, this weekend, NFL games. We got a lot of them. No bye weeks yet. We're going to start off here with the Vikings and Saints. It's going to be a away game for the Minnesota Vikings coming off, obviously, Minnesota beat Detroit 28-24 in a comeback win. New Orleans has not looked great. They played Carolina, lost 22-14. They played Tampa Bay, lost 20-10. I think it's mainly with Jameis Winston and, obviously the fractures he had in his back. But the spread is at a -2.5 favorite. Minnesota, over-unders at 44 points, -145 on the money line for the Minnesota Vikings here.
Yeah. This is a tough one. I think the Vikings the past 2 weeks haven't looked what we thought they would, I guess, especially week 1 against the Packers. But the Saints are at home. I do kind of think the Saints, because they just took a hard loss to the Panthers this past week, maybe looking to bounce back, but it is hard to go against the Vikings on a bounce back. But the one thing I will say is Dalvin Cook is questionable, dislocated shoulder. Might be seeing a little less from him. Although Madison, whatever his last name is, has been a pretty serviceable backup. I just don't think he has that Dalvin Cook factor. So something to look for. Injury report, keep an eye on. But I do think the Saints actually do stand a pretty good chance against the Vikings, just because the Vikings have been not looking the best the past 2 weeks. I might even think about taking that +3, or even the money line. Just like you said, if the dogs cover, they usually win straight up. I don't know. I like the Saints. I do like the Saints.
I think they got a real comeback game here. I think Dalvin Cook, the injury isn't as concerning as the other game with Tua, but
yeah.
I think if Justin Jefferson is going to eat here, he better eat, because I think obviously this is going to be. Oh shit! We almost forgot. This is a London game, so
my
it's 8:30 on the NFL Network. So the fucking Minnesota Vikings are taking on the New Orleans Saints in London. I love it. I didn't know that until I looked at the time.
That's awesome.
That makes it all the more reason to fade the shit out of Kirk Cousins. I think a sprinkle on Jameis Winston is going to eat all that up, being in a different country. So I think it'll be a fun game to watch. Hopefully the London people like those two shit shows of a team. Moving on to the Browns-Falcons. Speaking of, Cleveland's host, or Atlanta's going to be hosting the Cleveland Browns noon game. It looks like a pick'em here. 1.5 point favorites. Cleveland Browns -125 on the money line. Over/unders at 49 points. Honestly, here in the Ben Superdome, I think I gotta go with Marcus Mariota.
Yeah.
I don't believe in the Browns hype. I think the Atlanta Falcons, as bad as their team as a whole looks, I think they're a lot better than most people think.
I agree.
let's not forget here. Cleveland started the season playing Carolina, New York, and Pittsburgh. Atlanta started the season playing New Orleans Saints, LA Rams, Seattle Seahawks.
Mm-hmm.
Barely lost to the Saints, barely lost to the Rams, got a dub against the Seahawks last week.
Yeah.
All right, what do you think here? What's the pick?
I agree. Don't even bother with the plus 1.5. I mean, you could if you're really scared, but just take the plus money on the Falcons. They just look. They moved the ball a lot better than I thought they would. They got Kyle Pitts involved a lot last week, which was nice to see. And Drake London's shown he's pretty good. And Mariota, he has wheels, man. I mean, he's running the ball well as well, and he's making pretty good decisions. I just don't think the Browns. I agree. They just haven't shown me enough. The first
another
3 weeks.
Another game here too. I would put it in as early as possible. You got Myles Garrett and Jadeveon Clowney both questionable for the game. That's huge. I think if both those guys are out, the Falcons are going to win this game outright. But yeah, I agree. I think Cleveland kind of, doesn't look like a team that's much of a threat. I think it might be one of those dogs that we've been talking about. Some of those players that just know how to win. Mariota's been in the league for a very long time. So is Jacoby Brissett, but I think this is the battle of the backups here, and I think Atlanta at home plus 105. It's something that you got to touch. Moving on, Washington Manders are taking on the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas is at home for this game. It's another noon game. Carson Wentz has been looking like an MVP, even though he's at Carson Wentz. Not so much against Philadelphia, but obviously Dallas is playing somewhat of a short week here, playing last night. But what are your thoughts on Washington versus Dallas, an NFC East matchup that no one really cares about?
Yeah, no, I know. So the one thing I'll say is I read something. Okay, never mind. It just came out again. They teased at Dak coming back this week, and it just said Dak actually said, nah, probably not. So another week of Cooper Rush, and they are, I don't know, they're home, but at the same time, the Commanders have looked really good. Besides for last week, I shouldn't say really good. They've looked better than I anticipated them looking, and Wentz has been throwing the ball. I mean, they do have weapons. Antonio Gibson, Curtis Samuel, Terry McLaurin, Logan Thomas is a decent tight end. So it'll be interesting to see, but I do think I honestly would stay away from this game from a betting perspective. But if I was going to do anything, I do actually like, right now I'm seeing on DraftKings +3. +3 for the Commanders is +100. They've been in some pretty close games besides for last week. Small sample size, but I think I like that more than money line.
I think same with the Dallas Cowboys too. I think a lot of those games are close. You look at their win over Cincinnati, 3-point win. Tampa Bay, obviously, Dak Prescott was playing that game, and they got blown out a little bit. But New York, I think they should have beat New York last night by more.
That was expected.
But Washington's got an offense that I think has a different type of caliber with Dotson, Samuel, McLaurin, and it's really going to just depend on Dallas's safeties. So yeah, like you said, +3, -3 in favor of the Cowboys there. I'm personally going to stay away from this game. Could care less about the NFC East matchups.
Don't even like it.
I don't like them on prime time. So yeah.
Social on the lead.